This happened to me 4 years ago when I was still in high school. I was told to do my last delivery shift of the night. I got in my car, my prized possession, my 1999 Camry, perfect for delivering pizzas. I punch in the address on my phone. I live in New York but in the countryside, so all pizza deliveries were long drives. We were just a small hick town. I remember the sun was starting to set, so it was probably around 7 o'clock. I'd say after a good 15 minutes of driving through the forests, I had arrived. Now, since it was winter, it was pitch black outside, so this made me feel very uneasy. I noticed a light shining on the back of the cottage. I could barely see the cottage for that matter, and I couldn't see any lights inside, but I could see what seemed like a campfire behind it. Now, living in New York, there was no snow, so it would make sense for someone to be having a campfire at this time. I decided to walk around. It seemed like someone was having a party. Maybe a bunch of teenagers, maybe a family get-together. Maybe this was someone's lake house. Keep in mind, this place was really close to a lake. I decided to walk around. Boy, was I shocked. In front of me, I see a bunch of people in white robes. I was disgusted. I slowly back up. I didn't think they heard me. I step on a twig. All of a sudden, I see one of them look at me. He looked mad. Then I look and I hear him say something to the other guys. They start chasing after me. I was frantic. I didn't think we had this stuff in New York. I was shocked. I sprinted back to the car. I didn't even care about the pizza. Luckily for me, I was a fast runner. I ran as fast as I could and made it to my car. Luckily for me, a lot of the people there were very fat, so they were very slow. No offense to the fat people watching this. I had always been a very athletic guy as well, so that's why I made it to the car faster. I put it in reverse and floored it. I sped out of there. Now, I'm literally kicking myself by the time I get back to the pizza place because I had forgotten to call 911. On top of all that, my boss is mad at me for leaving the pizza behind. But hey, they ordered it, even though they didn't pay for it. I told my boss what happened, and of course, he didn't believe me. I was livid. Since we live in a democratic state, my boss didn't think anything like this would happen. I was terrified. My boss was giving me a hard time and didn't even believe me. This story was at Domino's, but I decided to quit there altogether. I make a lot of tips now at my new job, and I'm very happy about that. This story takes place in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. This next story takes place in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I had gotten a call from an elderly woman. Now, I was pretty pissed because I had 30 minutes left in my shift and I was about to go home. On top of all that, the order was making me go to a very dangerous neighborhood. And if you've heard of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, it's one of the most dangerous cities in America. I tried to argue with my boss, but he wouldn't let me take off any time of work. I was very mad. I hop in my blue Honda Civic and begin to drive. Driving by countless homeless people, people passed out, sirens, ambulance sounds, first responders of all kinds, you name it. This gave me such an edgy feeling. And no, not the edgy feeling of grabbing that thing that looks like a hot dog, an edgy feeling of something creepy. I had made it to the address. But at what cost? I look around, shopping carts everywhere. There was literally people sleeping on the side of the road. I was disgusted. I walk up to the door. No answer. I then hear some fighting inside. I was very confused. But I was also very afraid. You see, I wasn't the largest man. I was only 5'6" and of slim build. So if there was anyone fighting inside, I wouldn't be of much help. I knocked on the door, then all of a sudden the fighting stopped. I was very scared. A man opened the door, drunk off his ass. Did anyone here order a pizza? I asked. The man looked really mad at me. He was much bigger than I was. I was 5'6" and 130. This man was about 6 feet tall and probably 200-something pounds. No, nobody here ordered a pizza. Now get lost. All of a sudden, I heard crying inside. I was shocked. What is that noise? The man says, "It's nothing, all right?" I was even more shocked. Now, without hesitation, I try and force my way inside. Without hesitation, I try and force myself inside. The man seems very mad. We struggle and push the door against one another, but the man is way bigger and stronger than me, so he pushes the door back in. He closes the door. I'm left outside, not knowing what to do. My phone is in the car. I ran to get it. I call the police. I tell them an elderly woman ordered a pizza, but then a man came to the door and said that nobody ordered a pizza, but I heard crying inside the house. I told them I was very suspicious and worried for whoever was crying, and I was worried there could be a possible abuse situation or something else. All of a sudden, I hear gunshots. I was shocked. I ran inside my car and drove down the street just a bit. I then heard a woman screaming. Luckily, I was still on the phone with the 911 operator. I think someone was just shot. I heard gunshots. I heard pop, pop, pop. I was shocked. I then heard another gunshot. Complete silence. At this point, I was freaking out. The police then get there. I was very thankful for them coming. They informed me that they have calls to this part of town all the time. Well, not really a town because Philadelphia has millions of people. They go inside. 3 officers total. 2 of the men go inside while one of them stays with me. They then come outside very distressed. They had just informed me that the woman was dead and the man had shot himself shortly after. I couldn't help but break down crying. I was shocked. How could this have happened? I felt devastated and helpless. I felt so bad for the woman, but even a bit bad for the man. I mean, they were both dead now. They told me I could just go home and told me that they would just tell my boss what happened. I was very upset. I couldn't sleep for the rest of the night. I probably fell asleep at about 7 in the morning. I just had so many panic attacks thinking about what happened. I felt so bad for both of the people involved, even the neighbors. What if they had children? What if they had animals? All these thoughts ringing through my head. During this time, I was working shifts at a Domino's in Northern California. It was a very rural desert up there, and I often found myself driving up and down the road surrounded by nothing but sand. This night was different. It was very foggy. I then take the shortcut to deliver pizza that I've been down so many times before. I then slam on the brakes when I see somebody jump out from the bushes onto the road. My heart automatically sank. I didn't know what was going to happen. But I was also worried that I almost hit the person with my vehicle. My heart started racing. The man was wearing a black hoodie with the hood up. He laid motionless by my car. I had no idea what to do at this point. I was panicking. Why the flip was this guy in the middle of nowhere, and why did he jump in front of my car? And then things got even weirder. I can hear a scream for help coming in the woods. To the left of me, someone was in trouble. I looked at the man who I hit with my car. He was still on the ground motionless. I'd only be gone for a minute. I figured, for whatever stupid reason, I thought it would be okay to leave the man behind. I sprint into the woods. I'm trying to follow where the scream is. I keep running. The scream sounds like it's getting further and further away. Where are you? I yelled repeatedly. Where are you? I'm coming to help you. Where are you? The whole time, my heart was racing. I see a light in the woods. I run over to it. Shocked and disgusted, I see a man holding a radio. I was in awe. The radio was playing out screaming sounds. This was a trap. I sprint back to my car, not knowing if the people were going to follow me. As soon as I make it out to my car, I look and see that my car has been ransacked. Things are everywhere. I look for my phone. Thankfully, my phone was with me, my prized possession. They hadn't taken much of value. I mean, I was just a pizza delivery driver. They hadn't even taken the pizza. But I mean, who would just want random food that was in someone's car? I get into my car and begin driving, when all of a sudden, I see something out of the corner of my eye. I see people running towards my car from the far end of the road. I was shocked. I begin to slam on the brakes, and the person slams forward and hits my windshield. Blood splatters all over the windshield. I heard a crunch as if a bone broke. I felt so disgusted. I sped to the nearest hick town. I was so scared about what just happened. I called my boss and told him everything. Thankfully, my boss was a really nice guy and he was really helpful. He told me I could take the week off work, which I politely declined because I needed the money. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you subscribe and like this video for more. I'm going to start posting a lot more now. Thank you so much to everyone who watched this video. You don't know how much it means to me.